super soon.
Okay, guys, let's do this. Let's get into the real meat and potatoes.
All right, let's get into the last topic.
Speaking of meat,
You done with the yams?
Once again, we're done with the yams, but once again, spoiler warning. We're diving into heavy spoilers for this week's episode of WandaVision, episode 8. Previously on is the title, and yeah, two leading women nailed it. The two leading women nailed it this week. Who wants to jump into it first? There's a lot of
do we flip a coin? Do we
rock,
knock,
paper, scissors, shoot.
scissors?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All right, guys. If you guys, someone wants to wait for the big hurrah, but I'm not. I want to do it, say it first, because then you guys owe me $5 by the end of it.
here we go.
I kid. I don't know. I'm just saying that you guys owe me
like
at least a
us right
6-pack.
Yeah, he
I'm
wants
just
his
throwing-
$5. He
You
wants
guys,
to buy some beers.
Think about it like this: like I don't need to buy any of my beers at the bar when you guys come and visit me. I'm just saying because you owe me so many $5. But besides that, you guys do. Like it's all in the recordings. So yeah. Well done. Very good episode. I love the connective tissue. I love that they went back through the past and all that kind of stuff. Actually explained why she chose a sitcom format for her, her new Hex, model. It's because that was her happy place. I love it. And then they also, they touched on, she was technically a witch. She was always a witch. But what ended up happening is the Mind Stone just jump started the powers to a whole other level, which is essentially activating the X gene that we all know that she is supposed to be, you know what I mean, or what she has. And then obviously with Agatha being quote unquote the narrator, you know what I mean, throughout her life too, and just trying to put the puzzles together, it was awesome. And to go back on Agatha, obviously we saw how much of a fucking G she was, and it doesn't also show that she was full on evil, but she was also power hungry too, because she pretty much absorbed all the powers of her coven. You know what I mean? And including killed her mother. You know what I mean? And no, Miguel, you cannot. Thank you for raising your hand, though. Appreciate
real
it.
quick.
And he still does it.
Real quick.
Rude ass motherfucker. Go ahead.
She ate day magic.
They ate them. Really? That's what you had? That's it?
Yeah, that's what you interrupted for.
Magic. Come yoga. Come on, bro.
You were better than this, Miguel. You're better than this.
You're better than this.
I just had to keep on fucking with you. But no, seriously, stop interrupting. You have your turn. Honestly, let's name this episode.
Pardon the interruption.
Pardon the interruption. Thank you. Okay, I digress. But no, seriously. But yeah, so Agatha was a very strong piece in this whole episode. The connective tissues through everything, showing that obviously Hayward, he manipulated the narrative. He took parts of the film. As much of a dick as he was, you know what I mean? It's also like she didn't do anything wrong. So that's where a lot of the interesting facts happen. She never did take the old body of Vision because it wasn't him. She knew he was dead, but she was able to create another one that's tethered to the Hex. And I thought that was awesome. To kind of see her transition throughout the whole life and all that kind of stuff and just have that breaking point was cool. But I guess I'm still waiting for that moment of, it couldn't be just that. That can't just be it. You know what I mean? I still need to see a big bad. I feel like I'm missing out on the big bad.
Yeah.
I love the little teaser of the vision that the Mind Stone gave her of her in costume as Scarlet Witch, because we're definitely getting her now. She has her name. She has her costume coming up soon, so that's great teases. Obviously the big after credit scene was awesome, but we can talk about that together as well. But overall, great episode again. Agatha was awesome. I love how they pieced together all the stuff for us and gave us the connective tissue. But I think the only thing I'm missing right now is that where's the actual big bad? Because right now Agatha's playing it as she's interested in getting her powers. She just wants her powers. She just happened to walk into it. She's just more interested in okay, Mind Stone gave you all the power jumps and all that kind of stuff, but you really had it all along. you are this connective tissue, you are this chosen one or legend, and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, I'm cool with it. I'm glad. I like how it's moving, but I feel like we're missing out on the big bad, which they've been hinting at for the whole series. So, but besides that, I fucking love the episode.
We only have one episode left, right?
Is it one episode? I thought that we had 2 more, man.
We might still.
I don't
I
really
said
know,
that.
man.
Hopefully
like
2.
I said, the talent agency put out that their star was in the 10th episode, but it's already being promoted that next week is the finale. I don't know, man. There's just too. It's like you were saying. It's like there's too much that still needs to be answered, and there's still too much that needs to resolve before we get into Doctor Strange.
Not totally.
So it's like, it's either the show, like I mentioned on Twitter, the show's either going to end on a massive, massive cliffhanger where you got no answers at all.
I see that happening.
Or you have an extra episode where you really get all the answers and it really leads into Doctor Strange. And that's when she dons the costume and she does all that extra shit. Because, based on the mid-credit scene, we know what happens in the comics. And, they got to have that interaction. So,
yeah.
Well, I also think they changed the way that the show opens, because it wasn't like we had a classic sitcom opening anymore. And now I feel like they're transitioning into a film format. So we might not get all the answers in the series, but it's going to lead into a film that's going to answer all of this fully. But it's going to I feel like they're going to have... I have faith that they're going to have a really solid transition into like the larger universe that they're opening in phase 4.
Yeah.
How the way that they're setting it up,
Yeah, my only...
Because it's not just going to be over.
Yeah, my only fear with that is that, like, I'm more than okay with having Wanda in Doctor Strange, but then it becomes more of a Wanda solo film than a Doctor Strange film. Especially after having a whole series.
Unless she's kind of like that, everyone needs to get to her. But that's the theory. You know what I mean? Like, she's probably, she's the epicenter. So, she's the nexus. I don't know.
Her being revealed as the Scarlet Witch and getting her real name, I think, like, this is only solidifying how much of a big part she's going to be playing in the future events. Like, it's not going to be easy to get rid of the Scarlet Witch. And I don't think they want to. They just have to find a way to, like, manage whatever's going on. And, I feel like the episode gave a lot of insight into why she's out of control right now, which was really cool. So I feel like this show is just a very gentle way to bring you into everything that's going to happen in the next few months. Because I don't think you can't just leave a storyline like this just hanging. No way.
No, you just can't.
But they can.
You really can't.
I think
with the way it's going,
I think they turned Wanda into the big bad. So if you pay attention to the beginning of the show, or the beginning of this episode, like Agatha is like, she's cycling between help me and I'm gonna kill you, right? So she's not fully in control because she could quite possibly also be manipulated by whatever it is that her coven was trying to ward her against. And I think that whatever that is trying to break out of Agatha and take over Wanda. I think that that's kind of essentially what happens, is they do a play on Agatha where Agatha makes a deal with the devil, and essentially Wanda ends up making the deal, not necessarily with the devil, but with whatever being wants her chaos magic. And then she becomes the big bad that Doctor Strange has to face in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I don't know. That's just the way I see it going. The show's great. There's really not a whole lot to say about it. The show's great.
yeah. And I think they did a really good job with this episode, and I actually wasn't my favorite episode so far, from what I've seen, just because, like, I guess I got so used to the way that they alternated the formats between show and film. So the fact that this was diving more into Agatha and Scarlet Witch's history, I feel, it was needed, but it didn't hit the same due to the way the series was developing. But I really enjoyed how, now we understand that Agatha is motivated by power, and that has warped who she was. Because definitely you could see that Agatha wasn't that bad. But in the pursuit of power, I think certain things come out of a person no matter what. So, she's definitely becoming power hungry, and it's very obvious that she needs to know how Wanda got her powers, and she's envious of the fact that she's had to do all of this studying to get to that point, and Wanda can just literally create life by accident. And I thought it was also really cool that they acknowledged the fact that Wanda was actually somebody with powers even before that, and like I'd said, the Mind Stone just triggered it to be even more powerful. So now it's like it gave so much insight into how she became what she was. Because I feel like when I was introduced to Wanda throughout the Marvel movies, I was always very like, what's going on with her? Like, she's kind of like, they kind of threw her in. Obviously she has backstory, but this is giving more meat to the backstory, and it's showing like, yeah, she used to cope by watching. She learned English through sitcoms, and then this tragic thing happened, and she unintentionally stopped that bomb, which was cool because it even nodded to the toaster sounds from like that commercial from like a few episodes prior.
True.
And I thought that was really nice that they did that, and they even had the TV like buried in the rubble. And then like, if a little girl goes through that, that's a really traumatic experience. And then she loses her brother, and like she feels completely alone, and she decided to join Hydra as like a political thing, but then realized that they were just taking advantage of her. And it's like all of those, what Ed says, the connective tissue really gives weight to why Wanda is turning into the big bad, which is probably why we're like, where's this big bad? Because Agatha isn't it. Like, Agatha feels like a supporting character to whatever the big bad is. And with this Nightmare character or Mephisto, whoever it is, like, there's definitely something else missing that they're not addressing, but it's like obvious that this is leading into explaining why Wanda is gonna be the villain moving forward.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a good episode, and I really liked also how they kind of let you know that Agatha's basically trying to find a way to get what Wanda has and steal that from her because she feels like she doesn't deserve it.
I do have to point out too, like, I do love the fact that she helped you out, Ozzy, by saying Pietro, because she's just like, she couldn't, the only reason why she didn't use the real Pietro was because he was on a different continent and like completely somewhere else, but she was able to pull him from somewhere, this fake one, which is most likely her still hinting to the opening of the multiverse. So she was like, I can't get this one, but I can get this one right now being in this place. So I think that was actually pretty cool.
Oz was happy about that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She can't even. Agatha can't even change reality.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, she was like trying to flex to Wanda her powers, but it's like, this is stuff that you learned from the textbook. Like, Wanda can just do this no matter what,
Well, which is cool though, because then she still nodded to her teaching Wanda these things later on. So I think right now her getting to a point of like realization of like, this is how powerful you are. Either I have to kill you or I need to teach you, right? So I think that this also kind of brings it back to the comics of Agatha Harkness eventually teaching her how to use her powers correctly, because she is too powerful. She can't, if she doesn't learn how to control it, she's going to destroy everything, like, because of the chaos magic. So it's like, why is like, that's where I think Agatha is going to be. Yes, she's going to have to fight her because, obviously she wants to either kill her or eventually turns into be like, let me teach you my ways. All right, I'm gonna at least go through this event. I know I can't beat you, but at least I can get you to a point that you're controlled and everything. And I think that's where we could probably get led to eventually. But again, I still need to see a Nightmare or Mephisto character really being out there.
Well, you got to think about that rabbit that she keeps holding that we're not sure exactly who it is.
Oh, her son, actually.
It might be Nicholas Scratch.
Yeah, it's Mr. Scratchy. Yeah, it's her kid. Yeah.
All right. Well, it still isn't showing like who it really is. It's like obviously she's talking to this rabbit, and she's like hinting at the fact that there's more to it because she literally fed the bird or whatever to the rabbit. Like, there's more to it, and this could lead into the next few events that the big bad could have appeared. Subtly. I really don't think they're gonna just show us the big bad. They're gonna like have one of those scenes where it's just like, this is who it is, and then leave you with that kind of cliffhanger. I feel like that's gonna happen. and I'm gonna be so mad because I've been waiting.
Yeah, they'll probably hit you with a post credit scene to reveal who the fuck was really pulling the strings.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Like they did with this episode. Mm-hmm. That post credit scene.
Yeah. I mean overall, like I agree with everyone. Like I like the episode too. Like I said, there's still there's just still too much to answer. I don't know how the fuck they're gonna answer everything. And then if it bleeds, if some of those questions go unanswered and it bleeds over to Doctor Strange, then it's still more of a Scarlet Witch story than it is a Doctor Strange story. Mm-hmm. It becomes too much of a Scarlet Witch story than a Doctor Strange story, especially since the thing is, like, it's his movie. She's in it. She's co-starring. She can be the villain momentarily until they got to come together, or he's just there to fix.
Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah,
but so.
It's called a sequel.
Yeah, but you don't want his sequel to be. You don't want a co-star to overshadow or own your sequel. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think that's possible. They're too big superstars. Like, I feel like there's a way.
Well, at least story wise, even story wise, you don't want to go in from giving Wanda a whole 6-hour solo series to then give her a whole 2-hour and 20-minute movie just to explain some questions, to answer some of the questions that you could have simply answered in the series by giving 2 1-hour-long episodes instead of giving us half-hour, 45-minute long episodes.
So I'll ask you this: do you think it would be that bad if they did that and they kind of still gave it a connective tissue that Doctor Strange is still doing a lot of these things, but the focal point is Wanda? You know what I mean? Do you think that would be a bad thing? Because again, we have to look at the source material. They do that all the time in comics. With all these big events, there's always a focal point, but all these other people are connected to it, whether how big of a act they play or how small. They're always something about.
Well, the thing is, since we're going off House of M anyway, and he is her fucking up reality, and then he having to come in to calm her down, make her come to her senses, and essentially clean up her mess. Like, I don't want the whole 2-hour movie to be just him cleaning up her mess. Especially
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Especially if you're gonna get someone like Nightmare, which is a huge Doctor Strange villain. Yeah, we'll get him facing off with Wanda for a little bit, but I don't want that specific plot point that we could have developed here in WandaVision to bleed over too much into Doctor Strange. Like, I do want the multiverse, I'm okay with her being the nexus that opens up the multiverse, and then him still having to come clean up. Like, listen, you fucked up reality. You got all these. You threw the whole reality of this world into whack. We got to fix it. I got to fix it some way, somehow. Cause that's my job, is making sure your reality stays intact. Like, I'm okay with that, but I don't want him to just be playing Mr. Janitor the whole fucking time.
I feel like this, like the same way that like the Endgame events led into everybody's storyline, I feel like this is gonna spill into all of the series. Like, there's gonna be hints of what happened because it's fucking up everything, and that's why Doctor Strange has to come in. But I don't think that's gonna, like, I think it's gonna spill into all of the Marvel series, because if it's happening in the same timeline,
it's gonna affect everybody, because it's even affecting Spider-Man 3, and like I said, it's okay with it affecting all of it. But if it becomes something that is just like, well, we couldn't explain it here, or we just didn't write it to the point where we could have given you enough to set up what's next. And I think the perfect way I can put it is, look at the Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron at the time was literally, you had its story, but it set up so much for the MCU going forward without people really realizing it. It even plays a big factor into what's happening in WandaVision now. And this is like 6 years later. Yeah. But it's still its own story. Like, I still want Doctor Strange to be its own story.
So like, on that point too, I think I can agree with you there. I want to see Doctor Strange really battle it out with Nightmare. You know what I mean? But also, I want to see where it hits. So what it like, I wouldn't be surprised they do like the first like hour and a half. It's all about Doctor Strange and all that kind of stuff. But then the last half hour is when the hex scenario happens. Because think about it. All these things that happen in shows and comics and all that, they always overlap. You know what I mean? It's still the same day somewhere else,
fine.
you know? And I think that's how that
fine.
happened. It's going to be like during the week that Hex was happening, this is when Doctor Strange was fighting Nightmare, and then Nightmare happened to hop into the Hex, and, you know, because and then that's where Doctor Strange comes to follow. So it might even be like we backtrack on the Doctor Strange movie, and that's where the Multiverse of Madness kind of like spills out. It's like, oh shit, I was fighting Nightmare over here. I was chasing him down the road. I ran into this damn Hex. You know what I mean? Now it's a whole other shit, guys. Where the hell am I? I don't see it ever not happening, but it's like, you know, again, like I like basing it off my comic book knowledge. I love like being able to connect it that way. And the thing is, with comic books, anything to fucking happen. So I just, as long as they do it well, that's what matters.
That's just me.
You know,
that's just me looking ahead a little bit, because we're basically at the end of the series. And listen, I know it's a 3-part arc, and you know you got a whole bunch of story here. You're gonna get Doctor Strange. It's also gonna affect Spider-Man 3. It's also obviously gonna affect other parts of the MCU. Keeping it contained to just Doctor Strange and Spider-Man is not the way to go. And I know Marvel is way smarter than that, to be completely honest. But like I said, I still want, like, yeah, you can have Wanda in Doctor Strange the same way you had her in Age of Ultron, where you build her up and you're setting her up for bigger things down the line, but you still had Age of Ultron still be Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Like, I still want to have a Doctor Strange story. I don't want it to focus too much on WandaVision, because then you could have just literally just given us 6-hour-long episodes if you really wanted to do that. You know what I'm saying? So there's just too much that they need to answer. There's too much they need to resolve. Like, we still got to resolve Monica fully getting her powers and embracing her powers. We don't know. We still got to resolve Evan Peters, even though we got the answer that he's from another he's a different version of Pietro. Well, Fietro, let's call him, as Agatha called him, Fietro. You know what I'm saying? Who's really pulling the strings other than Agatha? That's another question we need to answer. What happens with, spoiler warning again, now with White Vision in the picture?
Ooh, I have my theory there, but I'll tell you after you guys are done with this.
Like, obviously we know what happens in the comics, but that's something that needs to be answered. We still need to know more about Hayward. What is his grandiose plan? What is he really trying to do? Obviously, my theory still is that he was trying to bring back Ultron, which is why he kept Vision's body. But it's not a topic for another day. I want to hear your theory about White Vision in a little bit. But there's still a lot to be resolved. What are you going to do with the twins? You know, because in the comics, the twins are literal fragments of Mephisto's soul. And we've been pointing at that the whole time, and there's nothing. You haven't revealed nothing in regards to Mephisto, nothing with Nightmare. You're really not setting up anything for Doctor Strange 2. So what is going to happen in the finale that really ties this in or leads us into Doctor Strange 2?
You know what's going to lead into
it? At this point,
episode 10.
Go.
If we get
episode 10, if we get episode 10, then that's fine. I'll retract everything I'm saying now, because we need a lot of answers.
Yeah,
but
no, it's true.
What I'm concerned about WandaVision now is them not sticking the landing for the sake of, we need to keep this at 6 hours because we need them to come back to watch Doctor Strange. Okay. When there's a lot of plot points that they haven't resolved yet.
Yeah, no, agreed.
And this show is not getting a season 2. So that's my thing with WandaVision. There's a lot that needs to be answered.
Huh?
What did you think of the latest episode?
I mean, like I said, I thought the latest episode was good. You know, it was a really good episode. I disagree with Ozzy, where I think that they can have Wanda and Doctor Strange in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, with neither of them losing face time or it being more about one character than the other. I mean, it's the same way that they would do Doctor Strange and Spider-Man when they do Spider-Man 3. The same way that they did, you know, Captain America and introducing Bucky and not making it too much about one or the other. It was still a Captain America movie, but you know, you introduced.
Well, Bucky was the villain of that movie.
But you also introduced Falcon, and it didn't become the Falcon show. And Black Widow was also there, and it didn't become centered around her. Like, there's definitely a way to do it, and if any studio can do it, it's definitely Marvel. Well,
to rebuttal that, you got to also think of how they're presenting the story. with Wanda as opposed to,
but we don't
as
know
opposed to
how they're.
you do know. We've been watching WandaVision.
Well, I mean, like,
but we've gotten
the
so
Doctor
much
Strange
insight
story.
into her
We just know that the
backstory.
Doctor Strange story is gonna encompass
It's gonna deal with the
multiverse.
multiverse. That's all we know. That's all we know.
Right, but
what I'm
we
saying
don't know
is
anything
comparing what I'm saying to the Winter Soldier, for example. The Winter Soldier was introduced. Bucky was introduced in the first Captain America movie.
Yes.
He becomes the villain in the next movie. Just because you have an Avenger in Black Widow who was in 2 other movies beforehand doesn't make it as in a supporting role at that. It's not gonna. She doesn't have a story there. She's just there just to be there. Falcon is introduced just so you're introduced to a new character to give a supporting character role to Captain America down the line. So he doesn't have a solo. He doesn't have a solo. There's not enough story there for him to have a solo movie, which is why they're getting the solo show now, and it's all
But
about
I feel
them.
like
Where WandaVision, Wanda specifically, they're making her a focal point of a larger story. You know what I'm saying? Just picture Thanos. Thanos was hinted at throughout like 5-6 movies until you got him as the focal point in 2 separate movies.
But I feel like they spent enough time letting you understand Wanda so that they could save time in the next movie so they don't have to answer those questions. And they can focus on Doctor Strange. Because it's like, we already know who Doctor Strange is and how he got to where he is. Now it's like we have a convergence point where these parties meet. We already know about their story, and now they can interact with each other on like a bigger stage, you know. And I'm sure they're never going to take away from like Doctor Strange, especially with an actor like Benedict Cumberbuckle, whatever, you know. So
he's not a
I
yam,
think
so she
they're gonna
doesn't
do
care.
it.
She doesn't cucumber. She doesn't care. But
Benedict, do some squats, okay?
But yeah, I mean that's really my only concern with WandaVision is that they need to stick the landing, and there's just way too much to get to. And listen, I understand Monica's going to come out in Captain Marvel 2, and that's probably what will get her as. I don't need her to be Photon or Spectrum fully in WandaVision. Her origin story in WandaVision is fine. We can get that later on because there's obviously some beef that she has to settle with Captain Marvel. That's fine. The whole Evan Peters thing, we got partial resolution on that. That still needs to be finished. Who's the bigger bad? Is she really gonna fight Agatha? Is Agatha gonna help her? Like we don't really know that yet.
Is Agatha
The showdown with White Vision.
Strange?
So, all right. So with White Vision now, right?
You know what I'm
Here's
saying?
exactly what I think is going to end up happening. There's going to be the showdown. Vision is going to fight Vision. We have our Hex Vision. We have our White Vision, right? So similar to like the comics, right? Because the thing with Vision in the comics, he has nothing to do with the Mind Stone. It's Ultron creating the perfect being, with the mechanical side and all that kind of stuff, and then taking the brainwaves from Wonder Man. In the comic books, this superhuman and everything named Wonder Man, right? So that's how he created Vision. He took brainwaves from this guy and then also combined it with the best suit ever, right? Best metal ever and all that kind of stuff and all the techno-organics that he used. So my theory is that during this fight, after they kind of beat White Vision and the Hex is going away, we could kind of see that when in that one scene with Wanda creating the Vision in the Hex, the Mind Stone dispersed into Vision and created Vision that way, right? Because that was how they were they became them. So everything up to the point of until his death, he kind of remembers not everything, just enough. And so what I'm thinking is that because like in the comics, White Vision, when he was reanimated, he was like, I don't have any of the memories that we had. We are nothing to each other. I do not love you anymore. I can see her combining the Hex Vision with the White Vision. And that's how we get our new Vision, that he's powered by the same shit that the White Vision is and everything. He will get some color back. But he's not going to be the same one. He's not going to be the love of her life. They might kind of go separate ways and all that kind of stuff. But this is the brain waves. She just gave him the brain waves that he needs to be resurrected. So that's where my head is going. I think she, since the Hex Vision can't be outside of the Hex, she's just going to combine him with the body. Now we have a whole Vision, but without all the full memories of his time as an Avenger. So I think that's where I'm leading toward. So it's similar to the comics, but it's also still using what we got. So it's like
so we're gonna get Vision. Vision's gonna live.
I think he's too good of a character not to keep going. He's also one of the biggest powerhouses that they have, but without the Mind Stone, I don't know how much further he will be. Combined through there, but I think they're going to keep him going the way, with combining both visions that we see in WandaVision and White Vision together, and then just kind of throw them out into the world that way. That's my theory.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like the way that White Vision looked, it looked like that he had something in his head that was like powering him. So maybe somehow Wanda can manipulate it with her hex magic to make it reminiscent of what the Mind Stone could have accomplished with him,
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That little
she's
part,
so powerful.
Download his hex version into that little crystal there, and because it's a little
just
different.
Give him
from
his
there.
iOS update.
That's what it is. That's what he's doing. She's just re-downloading him over. That's it. You know what I mean? And then give him some color and shit. That's it. Call it a day.
Just
but I
transfer
think
the files over.
Yeah, I still think that's that's an easy way of doing it. I can't see them not continuing on because right now the Avengers are very slim right now. And Vision, there's so many iterations of Vision that have become an Avenger. The first Vision that was Wanda's love, destroyed, then comes back as White Vision, then he gets a paint job and he becomes an Avenger for the next one. Then he becomes again, a Vision actually gets destroyed a lot in the comics, honestly. That's a lot. I just thought
no
about
wonder
that.
he doesn't want to be brought back to life. He keeps dying.
Well, he doesn't know that.
I know, but that's why he wrote it in his contract. He's like, bitch, I'm tired.
But I think that's a simple way of doing it. But again, there's too many questions. I just want to see a big bad. I just need to see the big bad, but I don't mind the big bad manipulating Wanda as the Nexus type of thing to get further.
Yeah, I don't think we get a big bad in the finale though.
I think you've been seeing the big bad this whole time. I think the big bad is Wanda.
No, she is not. She was
I
manipulated.
haven't gotten this cameo that Paul Bettany keeps hinting at, even though some people were saying that the cameo is Paul Bettany and he was just hyping himself up.
That's hilarious. I actually think it's better if that's the case.
Because he's never got a chance. He's never got a chance to work with himself.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he was like, a classic thespian.
That is
legend in theater. Like, yo, I'm here for that kind of self-confidence, though.
That's hilarious, actually. Can you actually send him that pic? Be like, yo, Paul, was this who you were talking about? See if he answers.
Yeah, I'll text him right now.
Well, tweet him, man.
Right now.
Tweet him.
Send him a tweet.
Oh my god.
Tweet that right now.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with WandaVision. To be honest, we'll see. We're less than a week away for the finale, if that is indeed the finale.
We got 5 nights. We got 5 nights to the finale.
5 sleeps. We got 5 more sleeps.
Oh, man.
But do you really think? I feel like they're not just gonna end it in one episode. The way the series is going, I feel like they're just gonna be like, "Oops, bonus episode because of the multiverse."
It's gonna be.
Well, it's just the thing. Well, that's what I'm saying. There's too much to resolve within the plot of WandaVision, and we still have not gotten the connective tissue other than
they need
the
to
Nexus
resolve the fact that we
to
haven't
lead us into Doctor
episodes.
Strange 2.
They're gonna,
especially when Kevin Feige said this series will literally send us right into Doctor Strange 2. So
that's how. Listen, that's how they're gonna end it. They're gonna end it in classic sitcom fashion, to be continued. ... And then it's gonna go straight. It's gonna go straight to black screen, and it's gonna say, "And Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness in a theater near you or Disney Plus premiere on whatever."
Well, then that's
date.
another thing. That's another thing too. Like, yeah, okay, we're tying into Doctor Strange, but when the fuck are we gonna get it?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? When the fuck are we gonna get it? It's been a whole year.
When are we gonna
almost.
get these hour-long episodes?
Damn it,
with
that
Falcon
pisses
and the
me
Winter
off
Soldier.
too. That pisses me off too. The hour-long episode, I'm missing it. I'm mad as hell. I better get an episode 10, or I'm rioting.
Well, it's been confirmed that
this
this finale, quote unquote, is 50 minutes long. But if you really think about it,
it's like 40.
it's not really that long.
Yeah, because
it's
the end
47
credits is
minutes
freaking
long.
ridiculous.
An hour is 60
Yeah,
minutes.
I don't understand
We know
why the
this.
credits are so long, but it is what it is.
It's very
All I'm
pretty.
saying is, it is very nice to look at, but we still need to have this series lead us directly into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and it really hasn't. To be honest, it's been pretty self-contained, which is fine. I'm all for self-contained stories and highlighting characters, but we need.
Maybe we're gonna
we
get
still
a
need
4-hour like Snyder Cut type film experience. So you never know.
Yo, all I
They
know.
didn't say how
I mean,
long
it's
Doctor Strange
possible.
is gonna be.
Possible.
And
Endgame was 3.5
if
hours.
Agatha and Doctor Strange and Wanda are gonna be up in the air fighting with their magic, I am here for it. I will sit down for 3 hours because the Doctor Strange magic effects and the magic effects that I'm seeing in this last episode, I'm ready. I love it.
They're gonna recut WandaVision into a 6-hour movie. Is what they're gonna do.
Magic.
I mean, it would
Honestly, I can't wait to rewatch it all from beginning to end. I really can't wait to redo that. I'm gonna love it.
I might. That's what I was thinking of doing this week, just to be prepped for the finale.
Yeah, finale. Yeah, I think I
For
would
the
probably
finale.
do that. If as long as we record on Saturday, I think I would probably do the same thing. Actually, I'll just watch it all on Friday night, like in one shot. Like, oh,
Word.
God.
Okay.
Side note,
Word.
you guys do know her son, the rabbit. What is it?
Nicholas Scratch.
Nicholas
Senor
Scratch, right?
Scratchy?
He is actually a prominent villain for Fantastic Four. So
I heard
a lot
about
of people,
that.
like,
And also
I just
Agatha-
He's probably
reread
just
that
gonna
too.
split into like 5 different, timelines.
Agatha
And
was a
then Agatha-
babysitter for
Yeah,
Franklin.
I was about to bring that up. She was
Yes.
actually a babysitter for Franklin.
That's the deep cuts. That's one of her first appearances right there, because she knew how. Because technically,
Franklin?
Franklin's also the kind of like Scarlet Witch. He can manipulate all of universes and reality. He is essentially a god. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
he's
Who's
an
Franklin?
omega. He's an omega mutant.
no,
Franklin
apparently,
Richards.
well, that's actually
Ebony,
been retconned.
is,
He's not a.
Is they
is the
retconned it?
son
They just
of
retconned it.
Reed Richards.
Yeah, Miguel, right? They just retconned
okay.
Franklin Richards
His
is not
mutant
a
background?
mutant. He is not an Omega mutant.
Yeah, so I
He's a-
mean,
he's a
that's not-
mutate now, or
Listen,
he-
that's
what
not
is he?
that's not gonna last long. It's not. It's
I don't
Dan
know.
Slott. It's Dan Slott swinging his dick around Marvel and saying.
Okay, so what did he do? He changed him to not being a mutant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
so
said that
so
he
Chip
rewrote his
Zdarsky
stuff.
wrote a book called Fantastic Four vs. X-Men, where because right now with the whole X-Men Island Krakoa thing, they only let mutants on, and Professor X was like, Franklin's a mutant, we're gonna take him to our island, and they did the typical, no you're not, he's my son, blah 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 thing, whatever. Now Dan Slott, a few weeks later, was like, yeah, no, I'm writing it in my comic book that Franklin Richards is not a mutant. It's not gonna last. It's a thing that's gonna last.
Oh, that's kind of stupid.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
okay,
it's a silly thing. Because again, like they're
He's-
still
he's a
saying he is
mutant.
one of the most, like, essentially what he is. Yeah, he's supposed to be a mutant. He was born that way.
He's
That's what
also
makes him
losing his
mutant.
powers. So
And
it doesn't
yeah, he's
matter.
almost done. Actually, I think he already finished off all his powers. I think he
Did he?
actually lost it all. Yeah, because the last thing, I'm actually like 3 issues behind, but the last thing I saw was that the being that he fought that time in the other universe, you know, she just showed up to Earth. So, or
Dude.
she's on her way to Earth. So like that other being is crazy there.
Dude, the last thing I saw was during the events of Empire for Fantastic Four, where Spider-Man and Wolverine showed up.
Hold up. Yeah, you're actually really far back.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I'm not denying that, not one bit, not even a little.
I
Got a little dark in there, Edward.
I know. I you know what? Like, I didn't want to turn on the light, my ring light for the camera,
light bulb
because I
went
was
out.
like, you know what? All right, so yeah, I'm on issue 28 right now. No, remember the light bulb is still on. I didn't turn it on because I didn't want to fuck up the video after that. So you see, bam, like fuck, damn, baby.
No, yeah,
So,
turn it off, turn it
You
off,
know
turn
what
it
I mean? Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm so sorry. They
But-
made me
Tired
do
of
it.
looking like White Vision.
Word.
Damn,
but yeah.
I'm impressed that you were able to fill that back in. That was the early joke, guys, prior the recording of this episode, and she
Look at me.
did it magically. Well done.
But
That's how you finish an episode, Ed.
Word. But yeah, I mean, that's all I got personally from WandaVision. Those are my concerns. Like I said, it's a solid episode once again, but there's just a lot to be resolved. That's all. That's
Yeah,
all.
it's definitely just like filling in, like adding, more context.
Yeah,
to
this
Wanda
is
and
actually an
Agatha.
episode we could have gotten earlier, like 2 episodes earlier.
Yeah, I feel like this was more filler for Wanda and Agatha's storyline, so I was kind of just like, but wait, what happened to everybody else? Like, I was trying to see what happened to Darcy and Vision and Monica and Jimmy. Like, where are they?
Well, Darcy is still stuck in traffic.
Wanda wasn't there. Wanda was busy traveling around the mind of whatever this girl has in her basement. So I'm assuming that time in the hex stopped.
Oh wait, did you guys catch that by the way? Sense. When I told you her place of power, she was like, "Hey, didn't you know about the runes? This is my place."
Oh, you were right.
You're welcome.
Let me guess. We owe you $5.
Yeah.
Oh, you
guessed
know
right.
What she also confirmed this episode too?
What?
That she's only in control of the people within her vicinity.
That's why.
And
but
then
she's
the rest of the magic is on, as she said, magic on autopilot.
Yep.
And she's jealous. She's like, "Damn, I've been studying for years, and you just do this by accident.
Yep.
Like, what's your secret? And she's pressed because she wants that type of power.
Yeah, she pressed
can't get
as
it.
fuck.
But I saw her facial expression.
But at least
throughout the whole time she was watching Wanda's life.
Yeah, but but there's something like very simplistic to it. You know what I mean? And it's just like it's natural, right? Because it's like her life is very simple. It's that she wanted more knowledge, she wanted more power, and that's all she's about. She doesn't give a shit about world domination or anything of the sort. She just wants that power. She wants to understand it again. She wants to either learn it, take it away, or learn it herself. But to learn that it was like, oh my God, you are an actual threat. You are chaos magic incarnate. You are a legend. You are, you're not supposed to exist, but you do. So you are a Scarlet Witch. You know what I mean? You are that legend. So I think that was awesome to see that she didn't need to be a giant big bad about it, and that's what I like about it. Just kind of like, with Killmonger. He's very simple. He was like, I want to destroy America. That's it. Get it over. I was like, I need to get that shit done, and then I'm fine doing everything else. Whatever.
I want my reparations.
That's it. You know what I mean? That's it. He kept it very simple. He's like, I don't give a shit about the world. I'm just taking out U.S. and then I call it a day. I'll stay being king.
More simple-minded villains.
Yep.
Is needed.
Don't get wrong. Thanos had a very simple view too. But
single track minded.
Exactly.
That's what.
I guess we'll get that when MODOK comes out.
The Hulu show, the claymation.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that one.
I'm gonna have a good time.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a good time with that
one.
It'll be a fun episode. But yeah,
it'll be okay.
It looks fun. Yeah. It looks fun. Stop being a party pooper.
What? Listen, man. Listen. Y'all
Pardon the interruption.
Y'all owe Ed $5. I'm not owing Ed.
If the show's not good, we're gonna owe $5. If the show sucks,
we'll see what happens.
Like, where's my money? He's gonna send us a Venmo request.
Put it on the tab.
Hold on, wait. What's that song? Who's that person? Was it? What was how the song go?
Bitch better have my money.
Right there it is. Yeah, I got it.
I knew it.
Yo, put that on the soundboard. Put that on the soundboard for me, bro.
Yo,
we're cutting the episode. We're cutting episode right now. Cut.
Yo.
Oh my God.
But yeah, with that being said, that's it for us this week. We gave you guys a little extra this week, but there was actually a lot to talk about, and we wanted to talk about the CW stuff, especially with Superman and Lois premiering this week. But we'll see you guys on the next one. That might be another big one too, since we're gonna dive into WandaVision and her quote unquote finale.
If it's not, then we're still gonna go in it.
Yeah, if it's not, then we're still going to dive deep into it. But with that being said, keep up with the Nerdy Basement literally everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all of Patreon, Amazon, SoundCloud, everywhere. Keep up with Comments in the Basement everywhere. Keep up with Ebony, wherever Ebony be chilling at. I don't know.
Word, she's there. She's around. She's around. You'll find
in the Sofrito-verse.
We're in the Sofrito-verse.
We haven't connected her to the Nexus and shit.
Word.
But yeah.
But we'll see you guys on the next one. As always,
stay nerdy, my friends.
Peace.
Stay nerdy, my friends. Peace out.